Hey guys, Happy New Year and all that kind of stuff. So I just found out I'm eligible for YouTube channel memberships, and I've just been looking up what that even means. It turns out like it's a little bit like Patreon, but it's like YouTube specific, and it gives you stuff like little badges people can have and little emojis that can go in chat and all that kind of stuff, and then you can offer extra stuff kind of like Patreon as well. And I mean, I'm a small YouTuber, hardly anyone knows me, but I do have some of you guys on Patreon and you guys are awesome. But if you remember last year, we were looking at Bears Beats in Battlestar Galactica, and we came up with that bear costume, right? And so not the Halloween one, not like the full-on bear one, the one that looks kind of girly. And for a while now, I've been thinking maybe I should rejig my Patreon so that we can fund a weird little bear costume. So yeah, I was just like, how do I change up my Patreon? And I just happened to click on my little monetization tab in YouTube, and it's like, hey, do memberships. So yeah, they do recommend that you have a certain number of people watching you before you try this stuff, which I'm just like, when am I ever going to get to that level? But, you know, it could be fun if people are interested. But yeah, having looked at all the stuff, I've got a lot to think about. And so I guess my question is, does anyone actually want this? Or do you prefer it to Patreon? Is there any reason to have both, or should I stick to one? If I do one or the other or both, what should I be offering? Because like at the moment on Patreon, I just have one tier. It's $1 US, and it's just whatever I happen to post that month. Don't really get a whole lot of feedback. So I assume people are happy sticking around, but it's mostly just Paper Vampire commenting at this stage, and then occasionally other people will pop in, but not so much. So like, I don't really know if I'm doing things right, or do people want more, or are you just on there to support me, or whatever. So yeah, and I know I've got different audiences in different places. Some people follow me for my music, some people follow me for YouTube, and like for people who are just here for the YouTube, is the memberships thing something you'd be interested in? To fund me a bear costume, and then I don't know what other shenanigans we get up to there. But yeah, no, if I'm going to rejig my Patreon anyway, just to like maybe be a bit more serious. Also, when I started it, I was doing more art stuff and I was kind of depressed, whereas now I'm fine, but I've sort of narrowed my focus a bit more. In theory, I'm doing music, bonsai, and YouTube, although bonsai is mainly work. I haven't really done much out there. I've got my own bonsai going, but it's kind of a slow thing. Music, sort of working on. YouTube's probably the most consistent thing I'm doing at the moment, so do I make the switch to YouTube? But no, so basically I'm looking for ideas for what do I do with Patreon and or memberships. Memberships takes a while to set up though, because like you have to get perks approved by YouTube, you have to design the little badges and the little emojis. If you don't know what I'm talking about, so the badges is like how long you've been a member. You get like your badge upgraded. So the example they give is like one of their staff members, I think, has one, and they start off with like a little seedling, and then it gradually grows into a pumpkin. I don't know what I would do. I was just talking to Paper Vampire, and, you know, do I start off with like when you're a noob, you get a spoon, and then when you've been there for a month, do you turn into a fork? And then after that, do you turn into a knife or an explosive? Would YouTube even approve those though? So that's another thing, is like, how do I get interesting stuff past them? And then you've got to design emojis, and I think when you start off, you only get 4 emojis, but as you get more members, you can have more and more. And I'm like, well, what's an in-joke that we could have as an emoji? I don't know. So there's stuff like that, and it's a lot of setup because you've got to design things, and like you can pay people to design stuff, but I'm not a big enough channel. I would probably do it myself, and I haven't done a whole lot of design. I was studying that course, but then they wanted me to do like 30 coffee logos, and I'm just like, I don't like coffee, and if I have to design the same shit all the time and crap I don't want, that's when I realized I didn't want to be a graphic designer. So like I could do it, it'd just take me a while because I'm not that skilled. So if I do set up memberships, it'll take a lot longer than if I just edit Patreon, for example. But yeah, no, I'm looking for ideas on what levels. But I guess more importantly, I know like last year I started 2020 off going like, hey guys, what kinds of videos do you want? And this is a bit like that again, but with a bit more of an air of pessimism. So if you have ideas for like what my channel even is, what videos I should maybe try and focus on, because like if I'm gonna do YouTube memberships, it feels like more pressure to be consistent about doing videos specifically instead of like for Patreon, it's kind of just whatever I happen to have been doing that month, like whether it's music I haven't released or it was art before. I didn't really do much art last year, but you know, things pop up. Sometimes like extra videos that I haven't shown anyone with me just practicing stuff or whatever. But I feel like with YouTube, yeah, it feels like one of those things you got to be more consistent at, and then like he ran away. Yeah, no, what do I do for he's so grumpy, but I've realized black on black, like you can't really see so much, so I'm like, I need more light colored things in my room just so he can stand out, and in the meantime the red works better when I'm just looking at him sitting on my desk. Anyway, no, well, what is my channel? What kinds of content do I make? What kinds of extras can I make from that content? Or do I just do like easy stuff like put credits at the end of the video? People who like, you know, are members. Oh, thanking these people. But like, I don't know, because I'm not a big channel, it's like, should I even bother with this kind of stuff? But yeah, no, they've got heaps of ideas. Like you can even do stuff with like live streams with memberships and yeah, I'm a bit overwhelmed because I only just came across this today and I've just like suddenly googled all the things and looked at what I did YouTube's little tutorial introduction to it all, and yeah, it feels a bit more full on than Patreon. The other thing is YouTube takes a bigger cut than Patreon, so, you know, if I were to run both, I'd probably have to, like, set the YouTube one at a higher price just to, like, make up for that. But also all the extra effort for doing the emojis and things, like, Patreon's a lot easier than what this looks like, so that's another thing to consider if I'm going to pick one platform or the other. Patreon will be cheaper for all of us, but YouTube does have some extras that Patreon doesn't. Another thing is, if I keep both, do I post the same content to each, or do I make Patreon focus more on like my music recordings and art stuff, and then just have the YouTube one for YouTube only stuff? Or I don't know how to manage it all, but yeah, no. It used to be with memberships that the eligibility was 30,000 subscribers, but they've changed it to 1,000 subscribers, and they've been very hush-hush about it. I'm just lucky that I stumbled onto it. I don't know when this change happened, but yeah, in the help article, it said 1,000. It's showing up in my monetization tab, and I'm just like, well, if they're giving it to me, should I just do it anyway, or is the effort not worth it? Does no one really want it? Yeah, so I'm just sort of like getting ideas, like don't get too excited because it'll take ages for me to actually figure this stuff out. But basic ideas. What should my channel focus on, or like what kinds of videos? Because I get confused about what my channel even is because I'm just like, I'm chaos. What kinds of things should I offer if I do this stuff? And then once I don't know how long it'll take to fund a bear costume, but once we get there, where do we go next? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been doing YouTube very well the last few months, but I feel like I should try harder. Anyway, so that's tonight's video, and yeah, I'm gonna go and watch Angel, but just thoughts. I want to try and make more videos, so I should just turn up and do random videos with whatever I'm thinking right now, right? Maybe? I don't know. So, that's what's on my mind right now is, what do I do with this? Is it worth pursuing? If it is worth pursuing, how do I pursue it? What choices do I make? And what do you guys want to see from me? Because I'm just so random. Anyway, video under 10 minutes.